Hey everyone, this is Darren with Crazy Minnow Studio, and in this video we're going to switch to a how-to mode and we're going to discuss salsa tuning. Basically, we'll be going over kind of a workflow on how to get different looks and feel out of salsa depending on your model and your audio. And we're going to do probably 2 videos. In the first video, we're going to work on this model here. This is a CC3 model from Reallusion. We'll tweak it up, and then I have another model, a DAZ model here that's a Gen 2, and we'll work on that one. This model, all I have on her is a idle animation that we use to test our models, and so she just kind of weaves around a little bit like that. There's no salsa or anything. We're going to configure that from scratch. And I do have a light rig on here just to make the model hopefully look a little bit more interesting. And let's get started. So first thing, make sure we've got our object selected, the root of it, and we'll come up here to Game Object, Crazy Minnow Studio, OneClicks, and I only have the CC3 and DAZ OneClicks installed here. If you don't have these or you need different OneClicks, remember there's a link right here. You can just click this and it will take you to this page, or you can just go to our page and hit downloads and you'll come to this same page. So go back. Anyway, we need to go ahead and apply that. So this is CC3. This is a prefab, so we need to break it first. We can always recreate the prefab after we have it configured. All right, you can see that we are using the latest version of Salsa as of the time of this video, which is 2.5.2.112. And if you want to get some information about Salsa, or Emote or eyes, you can click these links right here. So open reference for salsa, and it takes me right to this page, which is the salsa page. Let's go ahead and set up the audio source here real quick. This, by default, the OneClicks apply the promo male. This is the audio clip that ships with the core product. And she is obviously not a male, so let's go ahead and give her a she voice and not my voice, which is the promo male voice. And we'll turn off play on awake and set loop. And I'm also going to adjust this volume down so that I can talk while it is playing, because a lot of these adjustments we are going to do while it is playing. So let's turn that or expand that and open our settings. All right, so let's see what default looks like here.
SALSA, simple automated lip sync approximation. The unique technology behind SALSA.
Okay, off the cuff, I can see that the tongue is sticking through the teeth on at least one of the Visiums. So let's take a look at that. Let's go to our Visium configuration, display mode. All right, W is fine, T looks good, F looks good, T8, aha. Okay, so we can see that the tongue's not doing what the tongue's supposed to do. So let's go ahead and go into that one. And tongue out is probably where that is. Let's pull it back in. Behind the teeth, yep, and that has pulled the tongue down a little bit. So let's go ahead and raise it back up, like a real th sound. That's probably good. Okay. I feel like this is not dynamically different enough from this one. It's just slightly close, so it's like on the way to being this one, and it really should be a combination of going from that one to this one. So I think we need to adjust 2 of these, maybe W a little bit and OW, and make them a little bit more pursed in the lips. And what we're really looking for is dynamic changes. So let's see, mouth blow is probably, let's squeeze it together. Yeah, okay. So let's squeeze that together a little bit. I mean, we could set it at 100, whatever, that's good enough. And And then maybe on W, let's preview this one. We could maybe use a little more pucker. I don't think we want to open them anymore. All right, let's see. Let's see how that looks. Now remember, these one-clicks are just a starting point, and they don't necessarily work correctly for all models across a series. So like this CC3 model obviously had some issues with the tongue, and maybe some other adjustments. We're going to check that real quick, but maybe some other adjustments for a little bit better dynamic viewing would work. So you know, just because it's a one-click doesn't mean that's what it has to stay as. You can go ahead and apply that, and then that's a good starting point. And then you adjust it for how your model is created, what the face looks like, how big is the mouth, what kind of audio are you using, so forth. All right, let's go ahead and play this and see how these changes look. See if we fixed our tongue issue for one.
SALSA, simple automated lip sync approximation. The unique
And I'm not seeing that tongue pop through anymore. So I think we're good to go there. Okay.
SALSA processes.
So we will run through some of these settings, and I'm primarily going to be concentrating on these component animation timing overrides here. And they work in conjunction with the on timings, the off timings, and the update delay. Using these sliders, these are all kind of related, and they're balanced on the on timings. So what this does, if we look back at our visims, we go back into the definition mode, and we see that each of these has an on and an off. There is no hold, and a lot of this is covered in more detail in some previous videos, but there is no hold. SALSA doesn't use hold. SALSA controls when a visim is fired and when it is turned off. So we don't have to worry about hold here. And by default, this model is set to 0.11 for on and 0.06 for off. Now, as soon as I click this, these are all overridden. So it doesn't matter what these are set at. This is going to adjust the on and off and the update delay for everything. Okay, so the update delay doesn't apply individually. It applies overall, but the on and off will be set down here on these sliders. And there is another way of looking at this, and it's in input mode. And this is how we can go and globally change the entire set and apply it individually to the components. So if I were to set this to say, I don't know, 25, and this one to 0.01, and then hit apply, then if I come down in here, then it has already applied this to all of these components, all through all the visims, not just a single visim. All right, so that's another way. Like if you decide, I don't really like that, and you want to keep them applied down here, and you don't want to mess with these global overrides, then you can come in and set them and apply them in one fell swoop here. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to I don't know. This is what it used to be. I think this one's set for 0.11, but we'll go ahead and set these back. So you notice also when I hit apply, it takes me out of this override mode because I've applied these. So it assumes that that's what I wanted to do, is go back into the individual mode. But we can just click back on here and we'll go back to slider mode. Personally, I like working with the sliders because it gives me an overall balance of all of these kind of intermingled. So I'll show you what I mean. So right now, our on-off balance is a negative 25%, and that is primarily because I've got this set at 0.06 and 0.08. Okay, so that's where it's reading this from right now. We have an analysis nuance of 0, which means that the update delay is going to be exactly the same as the amount of time it takes to animate on. And this is called smoothness, mainly because what we've got here is this is the amount of time it's going to take to animate on. So the longer the time you give it, the more smooth the animation, the more frames can be fit into the animation on. This is in direct relation to the update delay because this is how often SALSA will analyze the audio and trigger a new visim. So like, let's say we set this down to, well, I can't do it since I'm in overall, but if we set this down to, 0.2, which is super fast, I'm sorry, 0.02, it's going to analyze every 0.02 seconds, but our visemes take, open it back up, 0.08 to fully animate. So you can probably guess what would happen is it's going to possibly pick another viseme before this one even gets to animate on. And so we lose some dynamics at that point. We don't reach our full extents. So it's kind of a juggling act you have to play. And I'm going to go ahead and come back here and set this. Let's go ahead. We can now, all of these we can work with while it is playing. However, if we want to save our settings, we have to make sure we copy the component before we turn it off and then paste the values back. Now, there are some things that we cannot change while it is playing, or we can change them. It just won't affect anything because most of this data down here has been applied to the underlying controller at startup. So all of this data is in here to configure in the interface, but once we start up, then it is applied to the controller. And the reason is because of the serialization limits that Unity has with respect to inherited classes and interfaces and whatnot. So if we do change these, we won't see anything while it's playing. So what we have to do is stop and then change these. And we might do some of that. Yeah, in fact, we will when we tune the emoter portion of this. So let's go ahead and go back. Let's get on with it here. Let's play. And let's start it up. Okay, all we're looking at right now is the lips. We'll adjust the emphasis emotes shortly here. But we can see that this is, it's nice. I mean, it's animating, it's timed well, and we're getting good dynamics and whatnot. It's a little choppy for me. I'd like to see it a little smoother. So let's take this smoothness. Remember, this is the on value, and let's increase this just a little bit. And we see that immediately, that little flutter there, but we'll go over that in a second. See, it's a little bit smoother on the it's a little bit smoother on the animation because we're giving it more time to animate. However, we are also seeing this update delay increase. And what that means is that SALSA is analyzing less frequently, which means we're not picking up as much nuance. So what we can do is we can decrease this. Now that means we're not going to get our full extents, and that's fine to a certain extent. So we'll pull this down. We see that we're getting more definition in the nuance of the analysis. We're still getting plenty of movement, so plenty of dynamics here. Okay, now what we can also do is maybe increase instead of decrease the off, and that will smooth everything out. It doesn't matter how long it takes to shut off. Because those will spin down, new ones will spin up. Well, now we do see it looks a lot smoother now. Maybe that's not the look you're going for. Maybe you want something a little choppier, and we can pull this back down. And if you pull this back down to 0, then basically that means that the off animation is instant, and that's why we get this choppiness. Now maybe that's what you want. Maybe you want it to look like it's dubbed or something and doesn't match up, or robotic or something. Who knows? But let's put this back up, and we'll put it a little bit longer than the on animation. And if we want to see what that is, we can come back over here and we can see that it's 0.12 for on and 0.14 for off. But we can just work on these percentages. It really doesn't matter. We're going by the look here. We don't really care what the underlying number is. So maybe we'll pull that back just a little bit.
SALSA processes audio files in real time.
That looks pretty good.
Requirement for pre-processing or shape mapping your audio.
Okay, we're going to leave that there for right now, and we're going to talk about the advanced dynamics. Okay, so this primary bias is the minimum amount of animation that we're shooting for when we do our animation on. So the minimum amount is going to be 50%, and then this whole rest of it here, this other 50% is dynamic based on the analysis value and where the trigger numbers lie. So if we look back down here in the viseme configuration on our triggers, it's basically the difference between, so like let's say the analysis value came in between these. It is halfway between this one and this one, so we would have an additional amount of dynamics applied because the trigger or the analysis value hit basically right here where the trigger was. So it gives an infinite variety of animation fullness, so you don't ever get that stuttery kind of look. Now, if you set this to 1, you've pretty much eliminated the advanced dynamics except for the jitter. So if we turn off jitter and we set it to 1, this is basically we're defeating advanced dynamics at this point. We go all the way to the max value. Now, if we go to 0, what we'll see is a more muted look, but we still can reach the full amount depending on where the analysis value is. I'm going to come and close that so that we're not affecting the animation here. Interface is pretty heavy. So we still get lip movement. We can still get full lip movement, but we more often than not get a lower amount. So let's go ahead and set this back to about 0.5. All right. So this looks pretty good to me. I kind of like what we're seeing. When we have the update delay set higher than what the default usually is, which is about 0.08, between 0.08 and 0.09. If you set this up too high, like we saw, then we don't get as much response. Now, we're getting more than we normally would because the silence analyzer is affecting it. So let me turn that off, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But you see, this is kind of a weird look. This may be something you want too. It just all depends. It all depends on what you're after. But what we can do, and we're not going to really bring that back all the way, but we can adjust this value up higher than, like I said, our 0.8 or 0.08 or 0.09. And with silence analyzer on, I have to turn this down some more. I'm hearing too much of it and it's affecting my concentration. All right, so with silence analyzer on, what this is going to do is find additional out of cycle points in time where the mouth should be closed. And you can read up on all these options in Silence Analyzer, but basically this first option here is directly related to the dynamics linear scale low value, right? And so this is the cutoff. This is kind of like the noise floor. So anything, as far as SALSA is concerned, anything below this 0.015 is, as analysis comes back, is considered silence and is not processed. So what we're looking at here is a percentage of that, the threshold. So we're basically saying that, yeah, we know, where am I at? We know that this is what our cutoff is, but we're really only going to process silence that's only 60% of that. So it's even smaller. It's this value here. Now, what we might want to do, since we are pulsing less frequently, is turn this up to closely resemble where our actual cutoff is. And then our start point means that we are not going to process silence analysis until we get 40% through what our update delay is. So 40% of that is we're going to wait 0.0456 seconds before we even start looking for silence. And then our endpoint is the end of this update delay, how much we're going. So, I don't know that we really want to, be all the way up there. And the reason is because it will process silence all the way up. So if you hit silence right before it's going to process another visime, then it might turn it off right when you're turning it back on again, so it can give it a little bit of flutter. So probably these values seem to work well for me, 0.4 and 0.8, so 40 and 80% of the start and end points, basically from 0 to whatever this value is. 40% of that, and 80% is the only time we're going to process silence. So when we turn this back on, and we can watch and see down here how many hits we get, these hits mean that Silence Analyzer has found instances where it is shutting down the active busy before we get to the point where SALSA is going to process another one. So we can extend this update delay, which gives our on animation longer to animate, and then we can still respond to more silence gaps in the speech, even though we're not sampling them as frequently with SALSA.
Allowing you to easily breathe AAA quality life into your characters, leaving you more time to focus on what matters most. Pick up SALSA today.
This kind of, I don't know, to me this looks pretty good. Let me bring it back down here, get a little bit more nuance in there.
Simple automated lip sync approximation.
Okay, I like that. So let me go ahead and copy these values. We're going to stop it because now we're going to work on the emotes. Let's paste our values back, and we're going to go into Emoter, and we're going to work on the emphasis emotes. And if we click our display mode here, then we see that every one of these configured emotes that come with the OneClick are configured for emphasis. And we also have one configured for always emphasis. So this means that every SALSA pulse, this one is going to fire. It is not going to be random. All of these others will be random, which ones it picks. And the number that it picks is defined right here. So we have 7. We actually have 8, but since we have one as always, it's not included in the random pool. And the random emphasis pool, it's totally different from the random emote settings. This is not what we're looking at right now. We're only looking at the emphasis emotes. I personally think it looks a little bit better when we have this many to look at, to go ahead and fire 3 of them off at the same time. And this gives more of an overall face movement instead of, oh, the nostrils are going to flare, or the squint's going to happen, or this or that, or whatever. It's some things in combination, because a lot of these things happen all at once. Now, you might say, okay, well, why don't you just kind of configure, you know, an emote that does all of that stuff and then just have it always go? Well, you could do that, but then you don't get this more dynamic look. So when different things are firing at different times, it gives a lot more dynamic look and a little less programmed, if you will. Let's look at these. And these are kind of big. These are kind of big. Let's adjust these. Let's set these down to be a little less expressive. First off, we'll go ahead and play it again, and we'll see what we have.
SALSA.
So these are all moving, and it doesn't look bad. It looks good, but I think it could be a little more subtle and still give the face a lot of life.
SALSA processes audio files
And you might not agree with me there, but let's go ahead and give it a shot here and see what we come up with. All right, so we're going to click preview, and we're going to adjust our full set here with this expression dynamics. So if this is basically with it off, and this is with it on. So I kind of feel like maybe about 70% on this one. Yeah, let's do that. And soften. I don't know, maybe we don't need it to be quite as much. There. Whoa, and that's a lot. So let's bring that down. I don't know, maybe 60%. And it'll probably do the same for this one. Yeah. Squint. I really don't feel this one is too much, so I'm going to leave that one. And that might be a little bit much on the nose movement. So let's pull that to right about there. And scrunch. This is doing the eyes and the nose, so maybe we do the same thing. Okay. Probably don't even need that one since we have those kind of independently there. So, okay, so always emphasizes still our brows up. We can set that to anything. You can even have multiple ones set for always emphasize. So like if we want that to always go, then we can do that too. So you can see now we're 3 of 6. And since we're doing 2, maybe we only want to do 2 random ones of the group. Okay. All right, enough messing around. Let's play this and see what we get.
SALSA, simple automated lip sync approximation. The unique technology.
Wait,
SALSA.
Oh, okay.
Simple automated lip sync
That looks good.
approximation. The unique technology behind SALSA provides high quality lip sync automation for your 2D and 3D character models. SALSA processes audio files in real time with a zero requirement for.
And I don't know, I think this gives it a nice subtle look, and our lips are moving dynamically, quite dynamically. In fact, you maybe could even turn that down just a little bit. We can pull this back down. And
SALSA is perfect for indie studios.
And we've got some good life in our model.
You'll get great results.
I don't know. I'm pretty satisfied with that. Pretty satisfied. Set that to about to, I think that's about where I had it. Okay. All right. So I would call that one done, tuned. We can put a fork in it. All right. So let's do one more real quick. We won't spend as much time on it. Let's do this DAZ. What's this DAZ? Yeah, I like this model. This is a DAZ Genesis 2, and it had a couple of morph adjustments applied to it. I'm not crazy about the hair. It looks kind of like it was melted here. But anyway, we're not worried about that. We are here to work with SALSA. So let's go ahead and apply it. We're going to do DAZ this time. We got to break apart the prefab just like we did before. And we do have that same animation on this one. So let's take a quick, first off, let's change her to female. Should probably sound better as female. Let's turn this down. Play.
SALSA, simple automated lip sync approximation. The unique technology behind SALSA provides high quality lip sync automation.
This looks pretty good. I think we can maybe smooth the mouth up just a little bit. I do like the emphasis emotes. The eyebrows are maybe a little too much, but I really like how her eyes are moving. And the DAZ models, the eyelids track pretty nicely with the eyes module. I like the squint. Very smooth. They look good. Look good. Okay, so we're not going to mess with the emphasis. We've already seen how to do that, but let's go ahead and adjust some of these settings. Let's go back into our overrides. And I think what we'll want to do is maybe smooth this out a little bit. It's a little flappy. First off, maybe what we ought to do is adjust our silence analyzer and maybe increase this a little bit and decrease this a little bit. And that hopefully will reduce some of the flappy that's going on. Are we still catching instances? Yeah. Okay, so what we can do, and we'll get more once we increase this. Let's smooth it out just a little bit. Okay, and then we'll bring this back down so we can see it here. Let's increase the... Basically, you can kind of think of this as attack and decay if you're into audio.
Pick up SALSA today in the Unity AssetStore. We look forward to seeing what you create.
And that looks pretty good. I think we're responding to the audio quite a bit. There was a pretty big emphasis there. I don't know. It was probably one of the cheek flares that looked a little weird from the side, but we're just going to concentrate on the lips here. That looks pretty good. I feel like now maybe she's not kind of responding enough. So maybe let's reduce this just a little bit. Yeah, that looks a little better. Looks like it's responding to the audio a little bit better.
SALSA is perfect for indie studios on a time and cost budget. You'll get great results with a low impact effort.
That looks
allowing
good.
You to easily bring
I
AAA
think
quality
I'm
light
happy
into
with
your
that.
characters,
So
leaving you more time
again,
to
let's go
focus
ahead
on
and
what matters
copy.
most. Pick up
We don't want to
Salsa
lose our
today.
settings. Let's paste those back in there. And so that one looks pretty good. Now, you know, obviously I think we could probably go into the emotes and maybe soften some of these up a little bit. Like, I don't know. I don't know what I feel about that one. That might be a little too much cheek. That's good. That's good. That one's okay. And maybe it's this flare. Maybe she's flaring too much. Okay, I said I wasn't going to do this, but here I am doing it anyway. So let's pull that down just a little bit. We don't need that much. She doesn't need to flare that much. And I think this is a little too much. It's like blowing a kiss at us. Let's pull that down just a little bit. And you might decide you want to change, you know, what these are composed of completely. You may not like what the OneClicks have done. That's probably too much there. I'll apologize in advance for my dog barking in the background if you can hear him. Okay, so let's see. Let's go ahead and play one more time. One more time and then we're done. Play.
Salsa. Simple automated lip sync approximation. The unique technology behind Salsa provides high quality lip
this looks a little better to me. It's a little more subtle in some of these that, oh, you know what? All right. We didn't do this with this one. Let's go into the emphasis settings and let's set this. We've got 3 here, or 7 total. So let's go ahead and choose 3 that we want to fire. Let's see how that looks. Let's go ahead and close these back. Let's get some more action going on in here. Whoa, that was a little too much. Okay, so, you know, might want to look and maybe reduce. Okay, what I liked before, the squinting and stuff, might be a little too much. But anyway, you get the idea. We do have more going on here. It does look a little more lifelike and a little less like, oh, we're going to do this and, you know, just 1 or 2 things. Maybe I got too many things going on. But oh my, that squint's just too. Sorry, I gotta fix that. Squint is a little too much. Yeah, we need to reduce that baby just a little bit. Okay, let's pull this. I mean, the squint looks good, but it's just it's a little too much. I mean, and some characters you may want to have that kind of twitchy kind of look. I think, yeah, I think I don't know. I'm thinking about 50%. That. Final run.
Salsa. Simple automated lip sync approximation. The unique technology behind Salsa provides high quality lip sync automation.
Yeah, that maybe it could even come down just a little bit more. And there's one that is doing something with her right eye there. I don't
pre-processing or shape mapping your audio.
I wonder if that's the one brow up that's doing that. Let me check it here real quick. One brow up. Let's see. What do we got? Yeah. Okay. That's where I'm seeing it. All right, it's that eye. I think this is not what I like here. Okay. Let's set this back up and adjust this guy. Is this it? No. Okay. That was. Okay, let's look. Eyelids upper. Oh, maybe it's this one. Yeah, too much. Jeez, she's got a little too much Popeye going on there. A little bit's okay. We can do a little bit. Yeah, and then let's pull the whole thing down. I don't know. I think that's still too much. Just a little. All right. And then when. Yeah, I think that's better. All right. All right. Really, this is the last one. Okay. So let's go back up here. Hit play.
Simple automated lip sync approximation. The unique technology behind SALSA provides high quality lip sync automation
Okay.
for your 2D.
I think I'm liking that.
models.
I do think I'm liking that. I think that's where we're going to end. In the next video, we are going to work with Emote Guy. The main reason we're going to work with Emote Guy is because he's very cartoony, and what I really want to demonstrate is tweaking the SALSA lip sync look for slower moving audio, bassier audio versus higher pitched, quicker moving audio. So we'll see how we can do that. We're going to be using the same techniques that we did here. Hopefully that was educational for everyone. And as usual, we look forward to seeing what you create. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.